All right, here we go. We are back. We are back with Slates and Koffee podcast. Your hosts, Tequoia, and Nneka. We are so happy to be back, you guys. We've talked a lot. We've had some really great, nourishing and educating conversations. For those who are now watching and listening, you can still find us on our social media platforms at Slates and Koffee. Again, it's at Slates and Koffee. I've been thinking about it. Like, I've been going through this healing journey, right? And they say when you're writing, when you're finding yourself, your niche in your industry, you have to heal in order to be used to your highest capacity. So today we're going to talk about self-love and what does that actually mean? Especially for women of color, we're so used to giving our pieces of ourselves when we don't even keep a little bit of ourselves to ourselves. We don't know what that means. Taking a time out, meditating, focusing on you, take care of you, because we're like trains. We're like chugga, 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 chugga. And there's no toot toot. There's still a chugga, 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 until you blow up. And that could be
metaphorically.
Where there's no choo-choo. There's all this steam, all this anguish coming in. And if we're so filled up with our families, our work, everybody else, and we don't release, then we're no good really at the end of the day for nobody else. What do you guys think?
100%. 100%, especially if you're going to be on set, talk about 10, 12, 13, 14 hours. And don't let it be a case where you're a mom or your wife or you have other obligations offset. It's like you have to set priorities, you have to set boundaries. And that's something that historically Black women never did. Never set boundaries, never set priorities. It's like your family comes first. And then if you had friends that needed you, you were there for them. But when it comes to what you need, we're always the ones to put us down at the bottom of the list. And in this industry, it can weigh on you emotionally, but it will definitely weigh on you physically. Yeah. And you have to prioritize self so that you can meet these responsibilities and be your best self on set and or on your job, whatever capacity that is. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I would say with self-love, especially, talking as a woman of color and still operating in an industry that is trying to be more inclusive, but is not quite there yet as far as what we bring to the table in our community, knowing that we have something to offer. And because of that, wanting to keep that, in a sense, within ourselves, because we've seen through history that a lot of times we put ourselves out there and we're taken and abused and taken for granted. A lot of the creativity and effort we put out into the industry and into our culture. And so we have to do a lot of gatekeeping as well to preserve all that effort, and to preserve all that hard work and all that contribution. And it can sound selfish at times, but for me, that's just what I think of when I think of self-love. It's like, no, because I love us and I love me and I love what we're doing. I want to make sure that's still something we have to pull from and not give into the world. And then at the end of the day, we're just kind of tossed aside and, given the scraps for it.
Yeah.
And being able to make those decisions.
Absolutely. Because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. And like Tequoia was saying, this industry with the 10, 14 hours, with the make something out of nothing, literally. When the cancellations of guests are talent and cast members, you literally have to pull a rabbit out the hat. Like it's an unbelievable, wonderful and cherishing industry because of what it is, mass media, and you're changing people's lives. You're dragging them out of their weariness or depression, and you get to create these masterpieces so they can escape to. But at the same time, a lot of people behind the scenes are not appreciated because they're not seen. Audience just see what has been done, but the blood, sweat, and tears literally they've put into it is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they got to go home at 2:00 in the morning, driving on the freeway at 2:00 in the morning. Hopefully they're woke and to their families to get their kids up in the mornings, and then to just to do a whole repeat. Learn how to take care of yourself and the foods that we eat. We can't fill ourselves with junk if our body is. I don't think 14 hours is normal. Like if you're on a set for a movie, and you're working 14, 16 hours, you're really up more. You're up more than we should be sleeping. We should be sleeping more than we're up.
And taxing your body at that.
And taxing your body and your mental, and worrying about is your husband or your kids taken care of at home. Worrying about, oh, did we get this from the little Joe's play that we have? So, and then you're making miracles on set. So it's really important that we learn how to nourish ourselves in the process. Taking care of your mental, taking care of your physical, and taking care of your spirituality as well. Whatever you believe in, make sure you have something that centers you and balances you.
Yeah, I know for me personally, I got a wake-up call when I went to my annual physical. And I mean, for years and years, and mind you, I eat healthy. I pretty much always have. But I was surprised when I got the report back that said that I had high cholesterol. I'm like, I'm 41. I have high cholesterol. I'm a healthy weight. I exercise. I eat well. Like, why is my cholesterol high? So I had reassess my life and like, okay, well, I have to be here to raise my kids. My kids are still minors. They need me. And I don't want to have to stop my life because of an illness. Mm-hmm. Film is my passion. I have to be able to contribute in that way or else I can't fulfill my calling. So I took on a vegan diet. I've been doing it for about 3 weeks and I'm like 6 pounds until I hit my college weight. And I'm like, I never thought that I would, once I got past a certain number, I just was like, oh, I'm never going to see college weight ever again. But I mean, I'm almost close to hitting it. So can I feel a difference? To be honest, no. But it's like, I know that there's a reason for healthy eating and a benefit and a better, healthier lifestyle, and having a healthy body is going to allow me to continue to taking care of my family and doing what I love to do as a filmmaker. So we all have to come to that realization that we have more value than we initially placed on us. And once we accept that, then, we can make those changes.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a special treat. Her name is Jenelle Johnson, or AKA the Sensual Chef. She is a plant-based vegan. I know there was like a difference between vegan and plant-based, but she's a plant-based vegan. She is a cacao ceremonial certified specialist. She is a healer. I mean, anything you need to know about life and living, she is it. So she's here to educate us on life. Here she goes, Jenelle Johnson.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
So I introed you as the sensual chef, everything plant-based, plant this, plant that, and that there's two differences between vegan and plant life, right?
Right.
So I said, if we want to live, we need to talk to Jenelle, because Jenelle knows.
So I'll give you eternal life.
Yeah, give him some of that light. But we were basically talking how, you know, being moms, being parents, or just being working women in the industry, how it can tax on the body. And then we have to live our life outside of that. So what are the steps that you've taken in your life that you have trained to live a longer life, and tips that we can do throughout the day to make sure we're taking care of our bodies through plants?
Okay, well, I would say for me, you know me, it's all about having a daily ritual. It's all about, like, I have a morning central ritual in the morning where I connect to myself. I connect in the kitchen. I take my time. The house is quiet, you know, and I feel like it's like when you start to like get into this routine, it really starts with you connecting in the kitchen. Because when a lot of people I talk to are like, oh, I don't cook, that ain't my thing. And it's like, it really is once you tap into it. So once you get in the kitchen and you start creating you could start with just a smoothie, you know, in the morning. And you start to really get into the process of, like, for me, it's like Will Smith said in The Enemy of the State, when that scene where he was like, the guy was like, well, he took my blender. And the guy was like, why are you so attached to this blender? And he said, because some people do yoga, some people meditate, I blend. So if you start looking at it like it is a part of your daily healthy rituals, then it becomes a habit, right? So it's like, for like when I, you know, started with cacao, it was a ritual for me. Now it's a habit. And the difference between a ritual and a habit is, a ritual is just something you do every now and then for ceremonial purposes. A habit becomes embedded in your life. So if you wake up every day and you say, I'm going to nourish my body in some kind of way, whether I can just stick an apple in my mouth. And then before you know it, you're like, okay, I like how that felt. I like how I feel now. I don't feel bogged down. And then you just keep going. You start with breakfast one week. And then you start with breakfast, and you start with a snack. And then you start with breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. And before you know it, you've created this connection in the kitchen. Now you can nourish yourself. And now you can say, okay, now I can nourish my family. Because now I'm in a routine. But I think it really starts with people being connected to the kitchen. And like, I hear people say, oh, I hate to grocery shop. And I'm like, you know, your most intimate relationship is with your food. You know, of course, God.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
I mean, God is or whoever your source is. If you believe in God, whoever you believe in, whoever your source is for your faith, that's your number one connection, right? Your number two is how you fuel your body. Because, like, what do? We wake up, we go brush our teeth, and we go to the kitchen. We get something to drink, we get something to eat. And so usually after brushing your teeth, you're going to go and you're going to nourish your body in some kind of way. And then you're going to continue to do that throughout the day. If you don't do anything else, you know you're eating or drinking something. And how you nourish your body, what your intimate connection is with your nourishment, says everything. It determines how you move about the day. It determines how you speak to your kids, your husband, your partner, whatever. So if you can form that intimate connection with your food, and, you know, it be living food, of course, foods that nourish you, you know, you will see your whole world shift. But it's like you're in a relationship. Okay, well, what we, you know, like I got this juice here, and it's like, okay, so you know, what you gonna what you gonna do, girl? You gonna feel good? You gonna how you gonna make me feel? You know, it's like, you know, people pray over their food, people meditate over their food, but it's like having that connection to your life source can make, I don't want to say break you, but you know, make or break you.
So it's the fact of wanting to live. You got to put that in your mind. Do I want to live?
Right.
How long do I want to be here? Because if I keep putting junk food, and if I keep drinking this or not doing this, most likely I'm not going to be here that long. So how I treat my food is treating me good. So there is a connection there, because if I wake up, okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I want to say thank you, because you helped me get out of coffee and wine. I was a coffee drinker 24/7. But when I started feeling the effects in my body, I'm like, there has to be an alternative. And there's an alternative for everything.
Everything. And I was about to say that. Like, you can still do what you want. Just find a healthier way to do it. And there is nothing no one could tell me right now. It's like, if you say, oh, I want a crab cake. Okay. Artichoke and mushrooms. Got it. There is a substitution for everything, but choose what's serving you versus what's not serving you.
Right.
So it is about, for me, I was 80 pounds heavier. I was working in corporate America. I hated my life. And I hated my job. And I remember walking up the stairs to my desk, and I'd be so out of breath. And I was like, I don't want this. This is not what we talked about, God. This is not it. And so for me, it was like that switch went off, and I was like, no, I want to live. This is not living.
Right.
And so then that's when I started to make the transition into this lifestyle. But people don't see the connection between their food and living. And that's the only thing we really can control in this life, is what we put in our bodies. That's it.
And I think it's really important for colored women, especially in TV and film, that we have a lot of giants in front of us because of our DNA. We got diabetes, we got cancer, we got breast cancer, we got fibroids. We have all these things against us, and determining our diet, it's set up to really like take us out. But we have to get in the mindset, I want to live, period. I keep saying that, because if you don't keep that in the front of your head, you will subside to society and what's easy to get around you.
Yes.
Like, it was so hard for me to get my grandmother to stop drinking coffee until she's like, okay, I can't even stand up because of my kidneys.
Right.
I've been told you to stop doing that, but you got to make it your own mindset. It's a mindset thing.
The mindset shift. That's why I have people come to me and say, well, I think I want to go vegan. What should I eat? And I'm like, well, are you mentally prepared? Have you made up your mind? Because that's where it starts. I have people say, when you going to do a cookbook? Well, I could throw some recipes in there, but until you really change your mind around food and like, oh, I'm never going to go vegan, I'm never going to eat that. Like, if you have that mindset, like, you're going to have some roadblocks, because every vegan said they would never give up meat, and here they are, you know? So, but it's like, so we have like all of these gifts in us, everyone, right? And in order for us to reach those gifts and our higher self, we've got to eat better. We've got to nourish our bodies better, because now we're impacted with the toxicity, and our gut is our second brain. And that's the whole thing. Like, when we clean out our guts and we clean out our systems, we can reach our higher selves. We can get to our creative space. We can get to that sweet spot that we've all been wanting to. But a lot of us can't even process that because we're so full of toxicity as it is.
Mhm.
So
I'm sorry. What's the difference between vegan and plant-based vegan?
okay. So well, there's three. There's vegan, which means you eat processed meats. Pretty much anything you see in the store, the packaged foods. And that can get really tricky because it's not really food. So then you have plant-based. So plant-based, a lot of people, traditionally plant-based could be fruits, veggies, and eggs. So when you go in the store and it says plant-based, you really want to make sure that it has no animal products in it, because a lot of companies are labeling things plant-based. But what you really want to be is whole food plant-based. That means no animal products. And that means no processed vegan food. And then there's other levels. There's, raw vegan, living foods, living foodists, fruitarians. I mean, there's so many levels. Alkaline. So I just say, do what you can and try to shift away from the stuff that's not serving you and move towards the food that is.
Okay.
I would also maybe say, I know for a lot of people, we're so concentrated on the here and now and gratification. But I would imagine something like this. Obviously, we already know the long-term effects. We'll get to 70, 80 and be in a lot better shape. I actually remember my old boss and supervisor, they were married. They retired at like 70 or 66 to 70, and they were going on marathons the next day. And facially, like, yeah, they were elder, but at the same time, the mobility they had, the health they had, I don't know if they're specifically on any diet. I don't think so, actually. They would bring food into work and there was like meats and stuff, but it's just the idea that they at least knew what to do to take care of themselves. And so I would imagine this also could help give people that long-term goal, because like you said, we, especially with people of color, we end up having these complications down the line, heart problems, diabetes, arthritis. I don't know if arthritis is from food, but we don't know necessarily what starts what. But at the end of the day, we have all these random things that come up from 50s and beyond. And it's like you have to start now to make sure that down the line you'll be less likely to fall prey to that stuff. Yeah.
Right. And it's like we look at people and their chronological age. We say, "Oh God, you're 50," and it's like, "What? How you don't look like 50?" Because we're not supposed to look the way we've just aged because of our diets too much, So when we get shocked and we say, "Oh God, she's 70, she looks like that," it's because she's taking care of her body, So yeah, I mean, and it's like there is no foolproof diet. However, studies time and time again show a plant-based diet is the best alternative. And to this day, it still works because it reduces inflammation. And inflammation is the cause of pretty much every disease you could think of. So yes, when you say arthritis, yes, that's that. Yep.
Let's talk about coffee drinkers, because I know the industry, we were just talking about how we can be on set for 10, 14 days. That can be a 2-month shoot, 1-month shoot, maybe a 6-month shoot. And that's our go-to, right? But what we don't know is Americanized coffee breaks down our internal bodies.
Right.
You are a cacao specialist, which is an alternative to coffee. It doesn't get you wired. The natural, I mean, coffee is natural too, but once it hits the US, it's painted, it's chemicals, all that. But cacao, they haven't got to yet. They haven't commercialized it, so they're like, Right. So it's just coming right now. So tell us a little bit about cacao for those coffee drinkers.
Okay, so Sorry. Cacao. God, it's a plant medicine. It's a spiritual plant. She has her own spirit. She is a feminine plant, and she's chocolate, and she's fruit, and she's just everything. So she grows on a tree, the theoroma tree, and she's harvested Central America, South America, Africa, and she's sent to the US. So, of course, indigenous people have been using cacao for many years, and it's really ceremonial. It could be used for funerals, could be used at marriages, for fertility. It was typically used to heal things like fevers and inflammation and things of that nature. So we have found this gem, and we've, I guess, sort of say Americanized it, and now it's become a beautiful drink to have in ceremonial or have on a regular. And for me, it's like totally changed my life, because it's allowed me to, what it does is mama cacao is a heart opener. So like they say, like if you're having like a meeting or just serious discussion, you always want to open with cacao, because that it gets the blood flowing, it relaxes you, puts you in a dopamine, oxytocin effect. It opens your heart. So you come automatically from a place of love. And so I've incorporated her in my daily morning rituals, and she keeps me calm. I've no jitters. I used to be like 8 shots of espresso a day, girl. And I would be like, and this is just mellows me out, and there's cacao water. I mean, she's so versatile. You can eat the cacao pulp. I mean, she has all these health benefits. Like she's been known to like help with dementia, anti-cancer, I mean, depression, anxiety. So she does what coffee can do if you have the right coffee. But she's such a beautiful plant. It's just, she also, like, what she does is she opens your heart so you can reach your higher self, which in turn allows you to reach your creativity. She's sensual. For me, she's opened my sensuality up more. She's a love medicine. A lot of people, like I'm seeing a lot of like cacao ceremonies around Valentine's Day, so it's definitely something you want to, add to your spicy, love life. Yeah, so she's all about love and just bringing people together. She forms communities. And like I said, she's changed my life. I've been blessed to become a cacao facilitator. So now I can host as many ceremonies as I want to and how I want to. So
I think it's important to talk about these alternatives when it comes to the industry that we're in, because again, we run to what is easy on sets, to craft services, and as we're burning ourselves out 10 to 14 hours, we're filling ourselves up with all these donuts and M&Ms and hot tamale candies and
services.
Everything that's yummy, but what ultimately is horrible for our bodies. And we don't even talk about these things in the industry, because why? We need you wire. We don't need you healthy. We need you wire. I need you here today. I need you to be on 10. But cacao actually does that for you. It's a plant. It's a natural plant that does the same thing as coffee, but it's going to add more years to your life.
Exactly.
So where do you get that from?
I order mine online, but there are a plethora of cacao companies. The key to cacao is, it's something you just got to try, because every cacao paste or cacao comes from different regions. So the energy is different in each region. So you might say, hey, I had some cacao from Peru and it just spoke to me. Or you may have some from Belize and you say, oh, it was okay. So you can get them online. It's just I feel like the key to purchasing cacao is choosing ethical, because I don't want to get into it now, but there's a whole thing with like cacao slavery and all of that. So if I had to make a suggestion, I would say make sure that you find something that's ethical, but I always have resources. So I have my favorites, but I haven't even dabbled into like, there's so many, so many companies out there now.
Mm-hmm. Also, before we wrap up, I do want to introduce another supplement, which is kava.
So, yes.
Kava is a replacement for alcohol when you want to just mellow out, you want to feel great, you want to feel great and you're focused. I have to take Tequoia is right down in the West End. I got to take you, and we got to mail you some, Nneka, some cacao drinks. And again, it's not for you to stop drinking alcohol, like no way. But again, there's alternatives that get you open and creative that will add more years to your life. Shout out to Kava Mama. Gotta shout her out. She's the sweetest lady. It's a little nook in the West End. Everybody know the West End by Medea. Medea, Tyler Perry says that Medea is from the West End. That's kind of like the hood a little bit. Right. But it's the kava is everything. So thank you again for this. I think it's from Southeast Asia or the Pacific Islanders, another plant that they have fermented, not even ferment, but they just, that's a lot of indigenous people,
right?
How they heal back then. There was no pharmaceutical drugs. There was, no over the counter, which another thing that can like really break down your body, but they did natural healing, like holistic healing. And again, this is another alternative for us creatives to go to without breaking down our bodies, because when you're living in your purpose, you got to make sure you're taking care of your body. You can live as long as you want to live. You really can.
Doing it for. I agree. Health is wealth. And then once like I like to say, when you start to put that life back in your body, you start to put love back into your body, because love is food. Food is love. You start to get that energy back. So it's like, it's spiritual, right? It's physical. It's just how we move physically, mentally. But to veggie back off of kava, like in Asia, not Asia, but like in South Pacific so anyway, sorry. They usually make kava and the men sit around in a circle, and that's how they heal. And they talk about their issues, and they form this like brotherly tribe, this brotherly collective community where they actually sip kava, they're relaxed, and they talk about their problems and they hug it out. And it's like the same thing with cacao. It's like you come together with cacao, and you come with love, and you talk about some of the things that the desires that you have, some of the things that you want to let go, and cacao allows you to do that. There's all these sippable plants and edible ones too.
It's really the earth. You're really sipping, right? And you're sipping, you're eating from the earth. How could the earth do you wrong when we basically was raised up from the earth? Dust.
Right, we are nature. And every plant downloads information and wisdom into you. So why not consume it?
Right.
This makes sense to me. But you know, I had to get here, so you know, one day at a time. But we here now.
Yes, yes, yes. Any last questions for the sensual chef?
I'm just interested in the coffee substitute. I'm really interested in knowing more about that because I'm a coffee drinker. I love Starbucks, and I've had to stop drinking coffee and wine as well. So all these alternatives, I'm very interested in trying them. So yeah, West End field trip. We gotta
Field
put that.
trip.
I can't be there, but I'll be there in spirit.
We UPSing you, Nneka.
Please and thank you.
No,
And
this is been
guys
wonderful.
have, I mean, some cacao too. I can
Yeah.
send you some cacao, and you can, you know,
That'll
get
be
into.
great. That'll
Yeah.
be great. And we all can share it. This has been wonderful because the cacao actually works, you guys. I have been a coffee drinker since I was probably 14. Like, don't ask, grandma was making coffee and we didn't have nothing in the fridge, so I was drinking coffee.
Right.
So and it actually works. Like, if you make a cup of cacao, go outside, meditate a little bit, you feel it. Like, you feel it's a different type of, like, kind of like you're waking up with gratitude and you're choosing a different alternative for the day instead of what is easy and may not be good for you long term. And that teaches you even throughout the day. Maybe I should go this way instead of doing this, something different, taking a different route to a different approach in life.
Right. Right. Yeah. It is. She is a beautiful medicine, and yeah, she's that's my girl. It's my too. Like, I mean, I honestly, I've done Cambo, which is the frog ceremony. I've done mushrooms, and for me, Mama Cacao she just speaks to me. Like, that's my plant medicine. She's helped me heal. She's helped me find myself. So yeah. So thank you, lady.
Where can we find you? Where can we find you? Can we look at your products? I know you have products, CBD, essential oils, and I think you have. Yeah, what do you have?
I have some plant-based cheeses. I have cacao. I have arousal oil kits. And I am at Jenelle, JENELLE D. And that is my website as well, just the .com on the end. But the Jenelle D. Johnson is on my social media.
Okay.
I'll be following you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Love what you're doing. Love what you're doing.
Please. Yes.
You trying to say something, Tequoia?
No, I was just saying I'll be following her.
Thank you. And I'll follow y'all back.
Appreciate you. Love you.
Have a wonderful
and keep
day.
fighting a good fight.
You too. Love you. Bye.
Wow. Another one in the can.
A lot of properties of cacao.
Super helpful.
That I definitely have to look into.
Yeah, I think, and I want to go back to what you said, Tequoia, when you said you lost some weight. I stopped eating meat probably for like a week or 5 days, and I was trying to go back to my goal weight before I had the kids. And just the meat and the bread replacements, I did it, and I was like, but meats, you know, some of these meats and breads, it keeps you inflated. It adds all this, it adds toxic in your stomach, so you're holding inflammation around your intestines. So it's weighing in, it adds liquid. So it's just good to be mindful that if you want to live here longer, you have to start eating life instead of giving away your life to these companies.
And having fullness of your body and mind as well. I like that she was talking about, you know, natural foods, like she said, plant-based. I'm definitely not there yet in my own life, but I've always saw the benefit in having a more natural diet as much as possible. I know, like, I think in the 60s, they wanted to make some sort of surplus with food. And that's kind of when things started getting processed and all this additives and stuff were added, and definitely didn't help us with the high fructose corn syrup. And I feel like for the sake of our mind, our psyche, and our body, and the, like I said before, the mobility of our bodies, you just got to remember what they did back in the day. Not everything they did in ancient times worked out for us, of course, but there are certain aspects that speak for themselves. Although I would say the goal is health. It's for some people, depending on what they want to look like. I know weight loss is either a benefit or a negative, but the goal is just health. You can be a bit slimmer and be healthy. You can be a bit bigger and healthy. There are ranges, of course. There is obesity, but ultimately the goal is health. If you're doing the right stuff, exercising, having the right type of diet, wherever your body falls in that is the goal.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Skinny doesn't always mean you're healthy.
Exactly. That part.
They call them slim thick. You can be slim thick and healthier than I don't know what, but it's all about what you put in your body.
Exactly.
And mentally too, what you put in your mind. But that's a whole different conversation.
Yes.
Yes.
When you're on set and they're yelling at you and it's all about going within, exercising that peace, and that's it. You can shut down noise when your peace exudes from the inside out.
Yeah.
I'll get it. You can't be mad. You can't yell at nobody when they say that. I'll get it. Okay.
I'll get that for you.
Well, we enjoyed Jenelle Johnson, aka the Sensual Chef. Again, you can find her at JenelleJohnson.com, and she's on Instagram at the Sensual.
Sorry, Jenelle D. Johnson.
JenelleDJohnson.com, and IG is the Sensual Chef. Learn more facts about how she lives. She lives a sensual life, a really peaceful, meditating life, and an aligned life. So it's really good to get educated on what she puts out.
Awesome.
Until next time, Slates and Koffee, guys.
Bye.